But at that point, she's kind of already been established as a SoulCalibur character. I feel like, introducing her in the previous game has sort of hurt her chances of becoming a recurring character, because eventually they'll just have to keep the characters that they want to keep, like Mitsurugi and probably Nightmare. But, as far as Viola herself, she's interesting. I think she's traveling with another character who I think we're going to get to. I don't think I'm going to even bother talking about Nightmare, though, just as a little bit of heads up, since, we don't really need to know about him. It's the same kind of character, kind of technically, but yeah, Viola. She's kind of cool. Voldo. He's returning again, and he still looks like a freak. I don't know what else I can say about him. He looks like a freak. And he is a freak. And he's too old to be going around fighting people with his bondage coverings and whatnot. I think he's trying to find, some key to, his master's treasure or something. And yes, I said master. But I honestly don't care about Voldo. I recognize that he's a good character at times, and he's pretty funny just because of his style. But he's a weird character. Sheba, another new character, and he's voiced by Johnny Young Bosch, based on the trailers. He's a Keelik's successor, and he has red hair, so that makes him cool. And he strikes me. He was obviously inspired from Sun Wukong or Sun Goku, depending on what kind of pronunciation you want. I mean, I say Sun Wukong because that's correct, but I kind of like that we're getting another Keelik character, because as cheap as he was, Keelik was a pretty cool character to use. And if you're trying to make a character just to sort of serve as like a tough guy who can just beat up everybody, Keelik's style was usually one to go, or a good one to use. But, I think he's pretty cool. Something tells me that Maxi might try and get him to become the next successor to SoulCalibur, so I feel like he's going to have some sort of rivalry with Patroclus. That's just me. Which would be kind of interesting, and, eventually these new characters will be, they'll be, adults, and then things will get a little more intense and more about them as opposed to them being guided by the older SoulCalibur characters. I don't even know what I'm saying, but overall, Sheba, he's pretty cool. He might be one of my favorites. It's kind of a tie between him and Patroclus, and I imagine there's still some characters we don't know about. I think there's 3 more characters we don't know about yet, but I think they might be leaving them under wraps deliberately. But yeah, Sheba's pretty cool. I like him. Yoshimitsu, that guy from Tekken who they just decided to throw into SoulCalibur. I believe this is actually a new Yoshimitsu, though, and it's actually more of a title, and this new guy is not the original Yoshimitsu, but the successor, technically, to Yoshimitsu. Literally, the successor. Which would explain why he's in Tekken, because, then we can say it's not the same Yoshimitsu, it's actually someone else, and I guess the Yoshimitsu clan is a clan that kind of expands until, the later years, which kind of, we've already sort of established that SoulCalibur and Tekken are connected, but now we have even more of an idea of how they're connected and why Yoshimitsu is there in the first place. But, he's okay. I'm not really too concerned with Yoshimitsu. He's a bit of a joke character too, but not intentionally. If we're talking about joke characters, Dampierre is probably the better choice, but Yoshimitsu, he was pretty fun. Maybe this will be a different kind of Yoshimitsu. Maybe this one will be a little more serious. But, we don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. We've got Zwei, who is another new character. It seems that Zwei is not his actual name, and yes, it is pronounced Zwei, not Zwei. It's some sort of acronym, ZWEI. We don't really know what it means, but I don't know. He seems to be some sort of interesting guy. He seems like a pretty cool character, and he's right now the closest character who uses some sort of sword, just a straight up sword. Although he kind of uses it in a different way. He uses it as like a bludgeon. It's sort of like a hitting weapon because of the way he holds it. He kind of uses it like some weird tonfa. And he's got that little spirit shadow thing following him around. So that kind of makes him sort of a different kind of character. I don't know. I'm glad we've got a character like that, though, because that helps me with one of my OCs that I made exclusively for the SoulCalibur games, which I won't really explain, but, you know. I also heard that, like, in an interview, someone asked the director or producer of SoulCalibur 5 if his wife was gay. I don't really see why that's relevant. I mean, if he's gay, he's gay, and if he's not, he's not. I mean, yeah, he's traveling with Viola, so, I mean, he has a chance to, you know, stick it in there, if you get my meaning. And, you know, who knows, maybe there'll be a part where he's like, I love you, Viola. Oh, Zwei, you're so awesome. I'm gonna stick my sword in you if you get my meaning. Wink, wink. You know. That's all the characters that I'm gonna talk about. I mean, there's obviously Nightmare, but, you know, Nightmare's kind of like Mitsurugi. He's been in pretty much every SoulCalibur game. I think except for Soul Blade. I can't remember. He might have been like introduced at the end of Soul Blade, and then come in SoulCalibur. We'll have to check on that. But for those of you who actually care, he just is kind of returning, doing his job as the whole opposition to SoulCalibur. And he seems to be going by a different name, so he might have some sort of disguise, which would be kind of cool, in my opinion. You know, I wouldn't be against that. But, you know, I don't really see, you know, if he's really that important. You know, who knows, maybe they'll introduce a new villain or something. Like a new threat, and maybe that's how they'll continue the story of SoulCalibur. The character customization, from what we've seen, seems to be an improvement of 4, while taking what 4 did good and or 4 did well, rather. Excuse my English, it's late. And taking what Broken Destiny did well as well, which is the which was, you know, the whole positioning thing. And they seem to be adding like their own kind of stuff, like the whole weapon effects and the patterns you can put on your characters' clothes and whatnot, and size and, you know, distortion of the voice, which and tone as well, which, you know, I don't know if that's really necessary. They did say that there was going to be at least 2 original classes, you know, kind of like what they did in SoulCalibur 3, which I'm happy. We already know what one of them is. It's a Devil Jin style from Tekken, which I think is primarily used for, like, a cameo fight between, like, the producer of SoulCalibur and Tekken. I don't remember his name, so I'll just call him Mr. Hirata, because I think that's his last name. You get to fight him. It's kind of funny. So that's kind of cool, but I want to know what the other one is, and hopefully there'll be more, because I feel like that's fair. Because, you know, I didn't really like how you could only choose the SoulCalibur characters. I was hoping for, you know, because I like having my characters being original. I mean, I don't really, it's not going to hurt. I'm not going to be, like, upset if they don't include any original styles, but, you know, if they do, that'd be awesome as well. I've pre-ordered the game, so I'm getting Don Pierre. I got the regular edition. I know the limited edition or the special collector's edition or whatever has items you can get for your character, like golden armor and dark armor, which I guess is cool. I mean, that might do it for DLC. As far as deconfirmed characters, they did say Huang was not going to be one of the characters to return, which I guess makes sense because he is sort of an original Soul Blade character, and his style was kind of split between Xianghua and Yun Sung. So having Leisha is Leisha's probably the closest successor to Huang that we have. They might do something else, I don't know. Because, I mean, like I said, they kind of split Huang's style, so having a character like using Huang's like Chinese sword, you know, that'd be kind of cool, in my opinion. I don't know what else I can say besides the fact that I'm looking forward to the game. Oh, I'm not a real big fan of the new voice direction they seem to be doing. I think they got rid of the old narrator, which I don't really like. I mean, I know it's a new generation, but still, they could always keep the same narrator, because that's what they've done. They've kept the same narrator throughout the entire series, I think. And that's just me, to my understanding at least. But I don't really know what else I can say about this, so I guess I'll just end it here. And this video's probably gone like way over the limit, but that's fine. It's a big deal. I guess I'll just call this my updated thoughts on SoulCalibur 5, and I figured I should do it now before I forget about it. I'll probably give more details about it on my blog, on the podcast, and eventually on my YouTube channel. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about SoulCalibur 5. I look forward to play it, and if you play online, that'll be fun too. I'll probably make some sort of Tosuke avatar kind of guy. I've been doing that since SoulCalibur 4. But yeah, this is FlamesRon, aka YouTube's Tosuke, signing out. I will see you guys later, and may the soul burn brightly inside your heart. So that was so cheesy.